In this video I'm going to show you how to draw an isometric block on an engineering drawing board. So you'll obviously need a drawing board like this with your A4 page clipped into it in landscape format with the border and name block and title block already drawn in as I showed you in the previous video. Then you'll need a T-square or slider ruler similar to this one. Very important for this exercise is a set square like this. We call this a 30-degree, 60-degree square because those are the three angles. Then you'll need a pencil, and for any of these kinds of drawings an eraser is a very handy thing to have. In fact, in this example I'm not going to use this one pencil, I'm going to use these two pencils. The reason for that is the yellow one is a 0.3 millimeter pencil and the orange one is 0.5 millimeter. In this drawing we're going to be learning about construction lines, which are very faint lines that you can see, but they don't stand out in the drawing like the outlines do. So you can use a pencil like this as long as you keep the point sharp and you're careful to draw the construction lines with very little hand pressure, so that they're only just visible to you but not to someone standing further away. I'm going to use my thin pencil, the yellow one, for construction lines and my orange pencil for the darker lines. So let's get started. When you draw an isometric block, you need to identify the orthogonal lines. Those are the height and length and width lines. So the height lines you draw vertically straight up and down like that. Notice that when I drew that line over there, I used the slider ruler clipped into the drawing board over here and the square in combination with each other. So the square was sliding nicely on the ruler like that. If I turn the square around, I can now draw a 30-degree line to the side, and that will be my length line. If I turn it right over like this, I can draw another line at 30 degrees to the left, 30 degrees from the horizontal. It's actually 150 degrees. If I just label these now, that would be my height line, that would be my length line, and this over here would be my width line. In this example we're just going to draw a simple block with a height of 40, a length of 100 and a width of 60. Remember, in most engineering drawings, if we don't give the units for a number, then it means millimeters. Millimeters are our default units in an engineering drawing. So our block's going to be 100 millimeters long, 60 millimeters wide and 40 millimeters high. It's important to plan your drawing and to make sure that you can fit it nicely onto a page. So I'm going to draw my width to the left, my length to the right, which means my starting height line must be not quite in the middle of the page, maybe about over here somewhere. So if I bring this ruler around, get my yellow pencil for construction lines and draw a very faint construction line like that. Now I need to mark off my height of 40 on this line. So I'm just going to mark off at 0 and at 40. I'm going to make my line a bit darker than I normally would, just so that you can see my faint line here with my marking over there and a marking over there, like that. Now, if I turn my square around like that and slide it, look over here, I'm going to slide it until it just touches my bottom mark. Then I can draw my length like that. I can turn it around and draw a width line over there. Now I'm going to remove my horizontal ruler just for a minute. I'm going to mark my width off as 60. And to mark my length off as 100. And there are my measurements. So this is the front corner of my block. There's my length of 100. There's my height of 40. And there's my width of 60. Now if you plan your drawing well, you should only have to make these measurements once in an engineering drawing, and then those measurements get copied as we complete the drawing of our block. So from this mark over here, I'm going to draw another height line. I draw it much longer than I need to. Likewise over here, I'm going to draw a height line longer than I need to. Then from this marking over here, I'm going to draw a length line. This length line is now on the top part of the block. I'm going to turn it over and draw a width line also for the top of the block. Then at the top far end of the block over here, I can draw another width line like that, and then finally for the back part of the block, if I slide very carefully until I get my ruler to that point over there, then I can complete my block. Now notice how many of these lines, that one there and that one there, and all of my height lines have been drawn further than I need to. What I'm going to do now is to darken the lines with my orange pencil, and this time I'm going to draw them exactly the right length, but because it's a thicker, darker pencil, they will come out nice and dark like that. And hopefully then you can start to see the shape of the block. These two over here, front face of the block, and finally that last one at the back. Now I'm not sure how clearly you can see that. It's much easier in real life than through a camera, but these faint lines, if I maybe just rub them out a little bit, you wouldn't normally do this in a drawing because some of your marks would be awarded for these construction lines, but I'm just trying to make it clearer on the camera so that you can see. And there is our isometric block with a length of 100, a height of 40 and a width of 60 millimeters.